Yo, what's good, people? This is your boy A Dazzle, as always, live and in color. Yes, you can see live color, full color. I'm here again. Once again, it's WrestlXtra. We are on number 7007. We're getting a bit James Bond British right now. And as always, I am here with my guy Mex. Mate, how are you doing? What's going on?
Yeah, I've had a good one. Looking forward to today's episode and looking forward to kind of taking this new direction, which I'm sure you're going to get into
All
with
right.
our show. So I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, man. So Mex mentioned the new direction. So it's let me give a little bit of a summary. So we're on now number 7. You know, we've done a few episodes and stuff like that. And the initial direction was, so some of you know that we're now on a radio station called Affinity Extra. Affinity Extra is a UK gospel radio station. So to put a wrestling show on there was a bit, what the hell's going on? That's a bit weird. So my thought was, okay, we're going to have listeners who have no idea about wrestling. So maybe we'll have to teach them a little bit. Maybe we'll have to keep it a little bit generic, keep it simple, keep it basic. And I've never wanted to do that with anything that I do. Obviously, everyone that follows me, follows the page, knows that it's about black wrestlers and very specifically and very boldly about that. So to do a generic podcast was never really my idea, but I was thinking more about the radio station than I was about this page, my following and stuff like that. So we did it. We've gone through it, recruited my guy Mex, doing his thing over here in the UK. Black British, let's do it. And we've jumped into it, but very naturally, very naturally, we've still kind of focused on black wrestlers, but it still felt as if, we were kind of not too sure exactly what we're doing, where we're going with it. After we did last week's show, we had a bit of self-evaluation. Everyone needs to do that every now and again, you know what I mean? And we thought, you know what? We're not feeling great after the end of every show that we do. Some of them have gone great and it feels good, but something's missing. So Mex read my mind as he's been doing for the last week or so. I don't know what that is about, but he's been reading my mind so often it's ridiculous. We thought, you know what? Let's just be very bold and specific about what we're here to do. We're both black, we're both British, and we're very bold in that and very confident about that. But at the same time, what we need to do is let everyone else know how confident we are in that. So for us, this whole thing, this page, this show specifically, is to give more of a voice for both black wrestling fans and also as well for us too, to kind of show the British scene as well, that we're here. So our direction now is a lot more focused, again, back to being about black wrestlers and topics. So not necessarily to go through what's happened in the week and all the rest of it. There are 10 million podcasts out there for you to listen to where you'll find out what's going on. I mean, even on my page, I would tell you everything that happens by the end of the week. So we're gonna try to be a little bit more specific on certain topics, more topical, more debatable, I guess, things like that. And with me saying that, the first thing we're gonna hit at, and I'm gonna get Mex to jump in right now, is, as I said, we're both black, we're both British. It's weird being a fan of wrestling with those two things as part of your identity. So Mex, tell me, in your time of being a wrestling fan, and especially probably more recent years, especially with you now doing what you do, how does it feel to be a black British fan of wrestling?
You're like an anomaly. You're really like an anomaly. And I mean, obviously through the power that is the internet, I've linked up with yourself. I've linked up with a couple of others, the Wrestlings guys, all kind of UK content creators around this scene.
Shout out to Wrestlings as well, doing their thing down in London as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Big time.
But, like I said, there's few and far between. Yourself and the Wrestlings guys have told me, you guys have been great enough to go to shows in this country, wrestling shows, and you've told me the lack of presence of black people in attendance in those shows, on the card, and like I say, if it wasn't for the internet, I wouldn't have even found you guys. So it really is just the who's who, and I do believe there are black wrestling fans. However, it is very much kind of like a closet thing. Like maybe people aren't coming out openly and saying they're a wrestling fan. They fear whatever judgment they may get. They're embarrassed to be a wrestling fan, and I guess with some things that happen on TV, you might be embarrassed that you're caught watching this kind of
Real
stuff.
real talk, bro.
It's happened to me before. I'm sitting down watching something. My wife walks in. I remember particularly the New Day. Me and my missus always used to go back and forth. Like, why are these men, gyrating and all kinds of stuff, like
throwing pancakes, unicorns.
like come on, what is
course.
this sort of thing? It is difficult at times, and obviously all you've ever wanted to do, my mission and wrestling's mission, I can speak for them as well, is unite black wrestling fans worldwide, not even just on UK. Obviously we are in the UK, and that's where we wish to start our mission from, so to speak.
Of course.
But it's definitely a worldwide thing, and hopefully from that we can, the word infect comes to mind, and kind of grow within the scene, get our wrestlers featured more on shows, because their audience, their the people they want to kind of shine in front of are there to watch them and there to support them. And then by doing that, we get our wrestlers into the bigger shows, into the bigger promotions, into more prominence. But being a black British wrestling fan, it is difficult. We are 1 in a million at the moment anyway.
Literally, bro. Literally.
Always encouraging, our peers, our other black wrestling fans and black wrestling fans worldwide to come forward. Let's grow this community, because we are like a little subdivision inside this entire industry.
For sure. I mean, I've shared this before on previous podcasts that I've been a guest on and stuff and whatnot. But for those that don't know, my page was actually originally supposed to be about building a black wrestling fan base in the UK. I had this little mission to kind of grow this little, I guess, fan society almost, of black wrestling fans in the UK, and maybe even be able to broker some deals with some promotions to get a couple tickets and bring a few people along and try and grow the black wrestling fan base in that respect. Obviously that never happened, and the response has been obviously a lot bigger in the US, and the page has grown in that respect. But going back to my core mission has never really disappeared. It's slightly altered, but as I said earlier, it's about giving confidence to us as black fans, because as you said earlier, you don't know whether to be open about being a fan of wrestling. It feels weird to say that you're a fan of wrestling. Still now it feels weird. I've got 17,000 followers, and still now it feels weird to tell other people outside of the 17,000 that I'm a fan of wrestling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's fine. That part of it's okay. But I think to build the confidence within a community has been my mission. Coming back to, again, the UK and the wrestling scene in the UK. Some of you may have seen my post earlier in last week of the OJMO, who is a rising star from the UK, London-based, and he posted an old video of him at a WWE event watching Pac, then Neville, doing the Red Arrow, and then the next video that followed was Pac doing the same move, about to do it on him, who is now a wrestler, and him countering the move and beating Pac. There was a 5-year gap in between the two videos. That led me to obviously share that, an amazing story within itself. But then that spurred me to share that, and then also talk about the way that I feel that black wrestlers, black British wrestlers specifically, are kind of forgotten about, not really seen, not really looked upon, not judged in the same way, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. And I think for me, that's been a massive part of my mission. So connecting with guys like the OJMO, Roy Johnson, Alexander Ruff, who's just joined us on IG Live, and others, to kind of build that community there. Ladies like Mercedes Blaze, Chikara, I'm wearing a shirt now. Shout out to Chikara. It's, for me, there's confidence when there are many people together.
Yeah.
So my page in itself, my little mission within the UK, and even with yourself specifically, it's about us building each other up. 100%. I think we can only grow when we do that. The reason why we have issues, even within the Black Lives Matter stuff and everything that's been going on in the world over the last within 2020, and specifically the racial element of things. I think the biggest reason why us as black people struggle is more so because we're so divided in general than many other communities.
Yeah, definitely.
So to give our US counterparts a bit more of knowledge within how we feel as UK folk, our Asian community isn't Chinese, Japanese. Our when we say Asian community, that's your people from India, Pakistan, and that area of Asia. But our Asian community are very strong. They have their hands in a lot of pots. They've grown themselves very well within the UK and things like that. And I think the biggest difference between them having a strong foot within the UK to black people is simply because they work very, very good together. Mm-hmm. Massively well together. Someone's wedding, the whole family's putting in. Someone's going to own a business, the whole family's putting in. You know what I mean? And all that kind of stuff. Us as black folk, unfortunately, we start something, we put it out there. Everyone congratulates you for starting something. Very, very few support you. Yeah. Very, very, very few support you. And when you do what you're doing, and you tell people what you're doing, and you tell them the price, the first response is, "Can I get a discount?" You know what I mean? Like, true. And that's our issue. So I think for me, that again, going back to the whole thing, the biggest way the easiest way we can tackle and grow is to do it together. So yeah, with that said, again, this is why finding guys that at Wrestings who are doing their thing, connecting with other black British wrestlers has been phenomenal. It's phenomenal. Unfortunately, with COVID going on and whatnot, all events in the UK are just disappeared, just completely disappeared. So we've not been able to, meet physically or grow in that respect, and do things on that level. But, to create the connections, and, we see, this is the other thing I was going to say, we see the guys at Wrestle Talk doing great things, massive following, they're great at what they do. Yeah. But unfortunately, and this is, I don't know if this is me coming for them specifically or not, but, we don't see a face like us within that collective. We're not represented within that collective. I'm not one to pull out the race card or to jump at anybody in that respect, because at the end of the day, we've got to be very real. People look after their own and what they're used to as well. If they're not used to that face, if they're not used to representing those people, if they're coming from the areas of England that they're coming from, or seems like they're coming from, there probably isn't many black people. They probably didn't have black friends, or even black friends who like wrestling. Let's be very specific. So it's probably not me coming at them specifically, but at the same time, it's a clear indication of the whole that is within the UK scene, if not anywhere else. I think for me, the biggest issue that I have doing what I do is the fact that I'm not in the US. If I was in the US doing what I'm doing, and I believe I would have had the most amount of opportunities to have grown this whole thing just that little bit more. than I've been able to so far. But yeah, I don't want to waffle too much. I could sit here and talk about it all day, and obviously it's a talk show. I should, but you're here as well, so you can talk.
No, yeah, I mean, you hit all the points on the head, really. It is just to make sure we are giving ourselves this platform, working together on our own separate platforms, coming together and growing, what we see as a problem. There's no point, because we, maybe not us as in we do it a lot, but like generally it is often a talk of discussion. Are we going to ever get a black world champion? We got Kofi. Are we going to get another one? Are we going to get a black women's champion? Are we going to see a black person win the Royal Rumble? This, that and the other. If we don't make ourselves vocal that we are a fan of this product and that we would like to see someone that looks like us climb to these heights one day, then we can't complain. We can't. We have no leg to stand on. Because we are the minority, so we have to stick together and make the most noise ultimately to be noticed. So yeah, it is just us kind of doubling down on what we like. We still love wrestling of all types, shapes, sizes, everything, but really just trying to focus on our immediate community, the UK, black wrestlers in general worldwide, and just seeing where that kind of story takes us from there.
You hit a nice point about us being vocal and within the wrestling scene and stuff like that, and being specific about WWE and how they've used black wrestlers in over the years and stuff like that. One thing that I do when looking at how black people are treated or how black people are seen in the wrestling in the wrestling business is to look at the business as well. So the business side of things. Sometimes maybe I'm a little bit guilty of maybe being a little bit defensive, not defensive on a personal level, but defensive of WWE at some points. Because when looking at the business, I'm thinking, okay, these guys are here to make money. At the end of the day, they're here to make money. They know their core audience is white, middle class, and it's ranged, from either the young kids, because they're the ones that are buying the merchandise, to maybe 20s and 30s, because they're the ones who will buy the tickets and come to watch the shows and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And also be part of the people that buy the merchandise. You look at the demographic of black people within those people that are making the money for them, buying tickets, buying merchandise, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. It's like you said, we're a minority. So to a point, you have to think to yourself, are they going to tailor anything for us, those who are not necessarily bringing in the money?
The money, yeah, of course.
You know what I mean? It's something to think about. I don't think it's the be all and end all. It's not, that's not me saying we can't complain. Of course we can. We still can. We're fans. We are still bringing in some level of money. And at the end of the day, representation matters. Yeah. Regardless, representation matters. And again, that can be argued too. But it matters at the end of the day. So it leads us nicely onto our point of the way that black people have been used in 2020. Now, we know, obviously, all the stuff that's happened, the George Floyd incidents and other things that have come after that, Breonna Taylor and others, the Black Lives Matters, the riots and the protests and all that type of thing. And everyone now seems to, jump in. It kind of sometimes feels as if they're jumping on the bandwagon, if I'm completely honest, of making sure black people are represented. Let's talk about specifically what actually has happened with both AEW, WWE. I might even mention Impact in this as well. Shout out Impact. So we've seen MVP and the Hurt Business being quite prominent over the last few weeks, and especially last night after what happened at the end of Raw. I thought it was amazing. But the Hurt Business have grown in popularity in their stature and all that kind of stuff, and it's been amazing. But their story so far has been almost there. I don't want to use the phrase, but I have to. Almost a black-on-black crime type of story where almost every black wrestler on Raw have been within this whole feud, this whole bubble, this whole storyline.
Yeah.
My question to you, Mex, is: do you think that's a good thing, or do you think it's lazy or lazy storytelling by WWE?
There is a degree of laziness to it because they tend to do this, and as soon as they're gonna shoot like a black person or something black to prominence or something, gonna give it time, they try to draw in the other black people on the show and make it a very kind of black or urban kind of story.
That's the word. That's the word.
That's normal, and maybe that just comes down to them not having, again, that representation backstage as a producer to show them, there is more than we can do here than just, okay, MVP's on TV, so let's pull together all the other black wrestlers on the show to put in his segment. Maybe they need someone backstage that can offer something else. However, I think because of what the story was told, I mean, if you remember back to the beginnings of the Hurt Business, there was a lot of rumors that this was like a Nation of Domination part 2, which, I don't think anybody wanted. I think everyone's been enjoying Hurt Business as an all-black faction. No use of the word of we're a black faction or anything like that. There's just black people that are grouped together. And
no racial agenda, basically.
There's no racial agenda at all, and I think that's best to keep it that way. Even if you are going to recruit as black people, you don't need to openly say it, sort of thing. I think that's been cool. Having the guys all on TV. Obviously, we've been saying MVP, doing God's work, as you've been saying. He's been the focal point, probably very involved in producing these segments and pulling these guys together, wanting better for them. Obviously, this is laying foundations for the future. So, despite who, is taking the pin that week, or despite who's getting the backstage beatdown, it's been beneficial to everybody. For sure. There. So, in that aspect, I'm just happy to see it. I'm just happy to see the involvement. But yes, it does leave us kind of short in other areas. Like I think you identified last week or so that there's like no black people now that New Day is off TV. There's no black people on SmackDown. So it's like now everyone that's black and as a male wrestler is on Raw, and then they're all involved in the same story. Like, it sounds a bit pathetic when you say it like that.
Yeah.
But I guess you just you kind of got to take what you can take, innit? Like,
here's the crazy thing. So most people know that I do my end of week review of each promotion, each of the bigger promotions, and the WWE one that I think I only posted yesterday was difficult, only because as you go through each show, so I do Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and 205. If it wasn't for the Raw Tag Team Champions, the Street Profits,
going on to
SmackDown on Friday, there wouldn't have been a SmackDown section in my post.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit worrying, I guess, in that respect, because why is it that all of them are on one show?
Yeah.
And even with the addition now of Keith Lee, straight to Raw, maybe you should have put him on SmackDown. But at the same time, they're not thinking like that. I mean, obviously the whole thing with, and the story and the historic story of Keith Lee and Drew McIntyre works. It works all day long.
Course,
I have no issue with that in the slightest. I think it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's great. But at the same time, because of the numbers and stuff like that, obviously we would think about that. Would a Vince McMahon and Adam Pearce, whoever else is making those decisions, think like that? No, they wouldn't. Of course they wouldn't. But as you said about the lack of representation backstage and in the corporate room, this is why these things happen without a second thought. So I don't see it as it being you know, a negative thing, as in they're doing it purposely at all. I don't see it like that in the slightest. But there still is an issue with it being something that isn't thought about. So for me, hopefully, when I think there's a draft coming soon, in the next few weeks or so, I want to see a few of the guys get moved to SmackDown.
Just spread out a bit, yeah.
I need to see at least three of them. At least three of them go to SmackDown, because I'm just like, I want to put SmackDown on as well.
Yeah.
And as great as the New Day are, we have no issue with the New Day in the slightest, and we love what's happening with Big E and all that kind of kind of thing. But I'm just like, I don't know. It just needs to be spread out.
I think Ricochet could definitely go to SmackDown and be a star. And Keith Lee, definitely, once he kind of gets out of this main event scene with these guys, he could definitely be someone that could be obviously a big face, as he is, going up against this heel Roman that they're building.
That would be interesting.
One thing that is, like I said, you just kind of have to be happy at times with what you can get. If these guys were on SmackDown, you know, SmackDown is the B show, and there may be some people that will be complaining, oh, why if you went and put all our people on the B show? And then obviously SmackDown is an hour less, which means that there's a chance they might not even get on the show, because obviously Raw's a 3-hour show, so they've got more to fill. So like, of course there's pros and cons, but I think what we're mainly getting at is that they can all be on Raw. They just don't have to all be in the same story.
I think what we mentioned just before we started the show, and I've just said how the ending of Raw was great last night. We saw the Hurt Business take on Retribution, this big massive faction of like about 20 people, all hooded up, blacked out, and all that kind of thing. And obviously then Keith Lee got involved as well, because they, you know, interrupted his match.
Their match, yeah.
So you've got, you know, right now the 5 most important black people on Raw, all mixing with the most important story on Raw, which is amazing. It then also, I think it's encouraging, because my thing was with the creation of the Hurt Business and how that story's happened, and with it all being all the black wrestlers involved. My thing was, when that story ends with Apollo and the Hurt Business, where does the Hurt Business go after that? Or who becomes their enemies, or, you know, who do they feud with after that? If this is the direction that they're going, I'm all for it. I wasn't expecting, you know, you mentioned we may see a face turn for the Hurt Business, going from bad guys to good. I don't know if that's too early, but if it is to tackle this group that has been seen as a group to try to destroy the company, and they become our superheroes, especially with the Black Panther font that you see on their shirts and all the rest of it as well. Clever. Then for me, obviously that's encouraging as well. It then makes me feel as if the whole thing with Hurt Business isn't a lazy thing, that it has some longevity, that they are looking to progress it as well, and not just put them together just to put them together, just to kind of maybe keep us sweet, or, you know, keep MVP quiet or happy, or whatever that is, you know what I mean? They're wanting to build them as well. Obviously Keith Lee being in the title picture as well, or around that, you know, picture as well, is encouraging at the same time. So yeah, it's there's good and bad, pros and cons in every way, shape and form. But it then leads us to look at how black people are then used in AEW. That's a very different dynamic altogether. Again, pros and cons, but for me personally, a little bit more negative than how WWE are currently using their black stars. Obviously, we see a lot of people on AEW Dark getting a lot of opportunities. So you're seeing guys who are from like the independent scene, who haven't wrestled for months because of obviously their smaller promotions, are not able to do what they're doing, and they've not had no time. And it gives them, you know, some kind of I get a bit of 5 minutes of fame, I guess, on a national TV level, which is great, or not even national TV, but it's on YouTube.
Yeah,
so
of
then,
course. But they're
because
putting
of their
massive numbers on YouTube.
right, and because of their notoriety now, it's an amazing opportunity for anyone that gets a chance to be on there.
Yeah, definitely.
We've seen a hell of a lot of black wrestlers, people that I've spoken to on an individual level, people that I've promoted on my page because I feel as if people need to know about them. They're great at what they do, but no one gets to see them, stuff like that. So guys like Sean Dean, Lee Johnson, we've seen David R. Lee, Red Velvet, the female wrestler, and a few others. Even some of the Latinas like Eva Lise, Diamante, and some of those guys as well. But at the same time, we know what's going to happen when they're on that show.
Yeah.
Sean Dean has appeared on the show 16 times, and he has lost 16 times. I believe Lee Johnson has appeared around about 11 to 12 times and lost that many times. My good friend Shug D has appeared on the show a number of times, and every time he's appeared, he's lost as well. Now, it's not only happened to the black wrestlers, so it's not literally just a black thing. It's happening to literally all the wrestlers that are unsigned by AEW. If you're unsigned and you're on that show, you're ending up losing just so their signed talent get a win or whatever they're trying to do with that. I still don't completely understand. But yeah, is that good or bad? Is the opportunity a great thing? The loss is a bad thing, and it makes them look bad, even though some of them have had good matches. And are we getting a little bit frustrated at it now?
Yeah. I mean, the first thing I want to kind of say on this topic is obviously once the pandemic hit and, wrestlers weren't coming out and working for their promotions because of obviously maybe illnesses they have and they don't want to get infected or anything like that, even across WWE and AEW, we saw an influx of obviously some of the names you've mentioned of just enhancement matches where a lot of black stars and even other ethnicities came out. And you know what? It just kind of is always like a testament to see like when the times get tough, it's always these ethnics that are still here putting in the work. And you know what? I just love it. And that's why I just love who we are and, everything about it. Because it doesn't matter, come rain or come shine, we still have something to do. And we're still hustling. And obviously, for a lot of them, they've probably taken it as, okay, XYZ, big names and whoever aren't going to be on the show. These lower card wrestlers have now been probably pushed up the card to fill those gaps. We have this opportunity now to shine. And yes, COVID is outside and striking people down, and that's not good. And we still need to look after ourselves. But
of course, they
came forward at a time where some people didn't want to work to still take an opportunity. So I think there's a lot to be said for that, definitely. I was very impressed by that. With AEW, it's a thing like where I totally get it. If you're not signed to the company, I don't need to make you win. Like, I'm going to bring you in, give you an opportunity, but I need to push my man, or I need to make my gal look good. So this is your role here, sort of thing. I do think that they do need to kind of maybe latch on to when they have something good though. And okay, like for instance, Will Hobbs. I think Will Hobbs recently got his first win.
Right. On
in
Tuesday.
Ages. And
yeah.
He's been putting in work for a minute. He just got his win. Even when I was really happy to see him in the Battle Royale at All Out.
Yeah.
Because I thought that was that's a massive kind of, you've been doing well recently, so take this opportunity on pay-per-view. So I think it is just knowing that, okay, this person is above a jobber now, so to speak. Or they're catching fire amongst the fans and stuff like that. It's just keeping your ears to the ground, knowing who the fans are liking and stuff like that, and just stop making them look bad. Like I think Sean Dean as well. This is someone that has shown a lot of charisma, a lot of ability.
Yeah, for sure.
I think they even tweaked his packaging somewhat, like Titron and stuff like that, which made me think, okay, we're getting something now. He's they're gonna do something with him. Yeah, capture it and run with it. I mean, it doesn't mean that he can't lose anymore. We're not asking for them to be immortal, but just maybe give them different opportunities, or at least give them a match that's a bit longer so they can showcase themselves before they're gonna lose, or whatever the case is. Yeah, I can't expect them to let people that are unsigned beat, their signed people. Same reason why Thunder Rosa probably lost to
Of
Shida the
course.
other day.
Oh,
But,
of course.
yeah, I think it's definitely just knowing when you do have something and then trying to capitalize off it.
I think for me, the issue that I have is not necessarily a race thing. It's not a race thing. It's more so the way that AEW are using AEW Dark in general.
Yeah,
It feels hella lazy. It just feels
it
so
is.
pointless. And I understand, again, I'm with you completely on that whole, these are my signed talent. These are the signed talent. So these are the guys that we're going to push. That is absolutely fine. But at the same time, I don't see an issue with you having the likes of a Sean Dean win a match or two, even over that signed talent.
Yeah,
Because if that then helps some level of a storyline for that signed talent, then that's fine. So say, for example, you've got Peter Avalon and, what's his name again? Brandon Cutler.
Yeah.
You've got them two together. They've had their little kind of, they kind of came together, a little bit weirdly. And they've had their little bit of a feud within themselves, even though they're a team.
Yeah,
If you then had them lose to two guys who were unknown, relatively unknown to us,
yeah,
it then helps, and then you use that in some way to further their little storyline between each other. They maybe then come back together and do what they're doing, or have a feud between themselves, however you want to go. And I think just AEW in general, AEW Dark, in general, is not being used to further any stories on Dynamite, or to help anything
Very
on
little.
Dynamite in general.
yeah, very little.
Whether and I'm just like, so what is it there for? You know what I mean? What is it really there for?
I've heard people say, like, literally, you see the dark card and you can just say who's gonna win it.
Oh,
who's
yeah,
gonna
of
win
course.
each match.
Oh, no, of course,
like,
you
you
know.
don't even have to watch the show. Like, the most entertaining or kind of non-predictable part of it might be the main event, where you might get two AEW actual talents going against each other.
Right.
But yeah, I think it's like, we all spoke about at length the Scorpio Sky stuff and how he built his story on Dark.
Right.
Just didn't even translate really to TV once he finally got back on TV, chasing down the TNT Championship. Yeah, I don't know. I was speaking to Mike yesterday from AEW News 1 _ on Instagram. You guys follow him because he is the AEW plug.
He is that guy. He is that guy. If you want to know about AEW and hear it in a passionate way, go to AEW News 1 _ on Instagram. That guy is the guy.
I was talking to him and he was letting me know that apparently that Tony Khan has said that there's gonna be, maybe in the new year, a new show. They're gonna get like another hour or 2 hours on TV, another one during the week, and this is gonna be totally different from Dynamite and Dark. And hopefully that could be like a progressive step towards something that could relate back to Dynamite, which I guess will be the main show. But yeah, Dark does need a bit of a better direction, because as far as I know, and I only watch it when literally I've done everything for the week and I've got nothing else to do and I'm just kind of trying to see more content, that's when I watch Dark, and it's like an hour and a half of no name versus lower card, mid card guy on Dynamite, and you know who's gonna win, sort of thing. So
yeah, unfortunately, that's the thing, and that's for me what makes it a mess, is that it's heavily predictable. It's heavily predictable. You know exactly what's going to happen. You know exactly what you're gonna get, and that's it.
yeah,
There's nothing to it. There's nothing to it. And as you mentioned, the whole thing with Scorpio Sky was the most telling incident, I guess, of that lack of correlation really between Dark and Dynamite. So Scorpio Sky's come out, doing his whole solo thing, and won, I think it was about 6 to 7 matches. That pushed him up a little bit for him to be able to say, Cody, I want a chance at that TNT Championship. Cut a promo at the end of one of his matches, said, I'm kicking down the door, I'm coming for you, this is my time, glass ceiling broken, let's do it. Even came out kicking down the door when he comes out for his championship match, and then he loses. There was no continuation of the story. There was just nothing else for him. So it was like those 8 weeks
for nothing.
For nothing. Then he has some random, he joins a random team for an eight-man tag at All Out and loses. Yeah. I mean, moving a little bit on, we're kind of still on a very similar subject, but again, it's this use of black wrestlers within the scene. And just on Friday, we had I think it was a fatal 4-way match for the opportunity to face Bayley at Clash of Champions
This one got me
for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Earlier in the year, we had Naomi come back from, I think it was a long time out at Royal Rumble. We all went crazy. She's come out, big afro, massive pop from all the fans in attendance. The media reaction, even outside of the wrestling scene, was great for Naomi. Nothing really happened for Naomi after that. She then kind of disappeared for another few weeks, came back again. The way she came back, or the segment that she came back in, was some karaoke contest.
Oh my God, I've even forgot about that.
I wish I forgot about it. I wish I forgot about it. These are the things that make me feel a little bit ashamed to be a wrestling fan. But anyway, we move. So that happened. And then during the most amazing storyline that we've seen in 2020 with Sasha Banks and Bayley doing their thing, in the middle of their little thing, Naomi kind of shows up, has a match between the two of them to see, a beat the clock type of challenge. But then Naomi defeats Bayley, who is a women's champion. We all know in the world of wrestling, when you beat a champion, you then get the opportunity to face that champion for that championship 100%. Later on. So we had this fatal 4-way on Friday, just gone. And there was Nikki Cross, Tamina, who's lost every opportunity that she's had for anything. Nikki Cross, who's lost 3 times to Bayley this year. And who else was in there? Alexa Bliss and Lacey Evans, as always. Lacey Evans, of course, you can't forget Lacey Evans. Put her in everything that you do.
Yeah.
No Naomi. Naomi beat Bayley 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
No Naomi. I'm just waiting for the little thing to go past me, the ball of hay or whatever it is, the tumbleweed to go past me right now, because I'm just like, I've got nothing else to say.
I mean, that is exactly...
What is that?
That's exactly how I felt. Once they announced the match, I double took. I looked at the screen again. I was thinking, okay, this person. Where's Naomi?
Right.
Bruv, let me tell you, Bayley has lost 5 times this year. Obviously, she's championed, they're protecting her, etc., etc. She's lost 5 matches this year. Singles matches, no tag team matches. 3 of them have been on Raw, where her and Sasha obviously been jumping, to the likes of Shayna Baszler and Asuka. Can't complain.
Okay, no problem.
She has lost 2 matches on SmackDown this year.
To
one
who?
to Lacey Evans and 1 to Naomi. Naomi being the most recent.
Just 3 weeks ago.
Okay, if you want to justify Lacey Evans going in there, then fine. On this basis of my argument, then fine.
Yeah, no problem.
But how did you leave Naomi out? I'm not even saying take out one of the other women. Make it a fatal 5-way.
Yeah.
Make it a fatal 5-way.
Right.
Like I said, Naomi should be coming out. Hello, you guys are trying to put, you say at Clash of Champions, everyone is every belt is going to be on the line. I was the last person to beat Bayley. Where's my title shot?
Right?
Where is my title shot? Like,
Right. Come clapping those hands too.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
it's absolutely ridiculous. Like, the fact she's not even in the match. Like I said, I think she should kind of just go past the match and just be the contender.
Yeah,
off
for
the
sure,
bat.
for sure.
But the fact she wasn't even in the match, it's like, and this is a thing. Like, I'm not one to start calling out agendas and stuff, but come on, like, really and truly.
Now, me being me, I like to try my hardest to be fair about every and anything. So there's a possibility that Naomi was unavailable for whatever reason. Possibility. I don't know. But even with that said, you let it go. Because at the end of the day, Bayley's in the middle of this thing with Sasha. She was in the middle of the ring and was talking about the reason why she attacked Sasha Banks, blah, blah, blah. Leave it at that. If Naomi's unavailable that week, bring her in the following week. We've still got another couple of weeks until Clash of Champions.
Yeah.
There doesn't need to be a few weeks of that storyline being built, because at the end of the day, she beat Bayley a few weeks ago. She doesn't need any other reason.
It's all there.
Or any storyline to be built for that to be justified, or for that match to then be justified.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's difficult to not make it an agenda or a level of racial neglect. Let's be very specific. It's very difficult to look past that. Very difficult. Again, I'm trying so much not to be so quick to call those things out, but it's neglect. It's a level of racial neglect that I find ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous how she's been overlooked. And what annoys me is not just the fact that she's being neglected, but the fact that the media and fans' response to Naomi, twice she has been at the top of the list for trending hashtags on Twitter.
Yeah.
Do you know how
Worldwide.
difficult that is? Do you know how difficult that is?
Yeah.
So for any star to hit that, and or positive, let's it wasn't a negative thing. It's not like she did something wrong and then everyone talking bad about her.
Yeah.
Both times it was a positive thing. How do you not then use that star, however much you rate them, however much they probably aren't the greatest talkers, lack some kind of charisma, lack a bit of ability, whatever the hell you think it might be or might not be, you use that. We've seen it happen with other stars before.
And it's weird, because for me, with all due respect, that's exactly why Lana has a job, because of her social influence.
Of course. That's her whole thing at the moment.
Yeah. They
It's a whole
basically
gimmick at
made
the
her and
moment.
Natalia influencers on TV. So for you to care so much about social influence, and they do, even outside of Lana, they're always saying WWE has the most followers out of NFL,
Right.
NBA, this, that, and the other.
Right.
You had something where Naomi was the trending topic, like you said, on more than one occasion in the United States. Like, massive continent. And you're telling me we're not capitalizing it. To be honest, I'm beginning to think this is, well, it may be a black thing. I wouldn't like to say it is, but I'm beginning to think this is a Naomi thing. Not that she has done anything wrong, but I feel like there is something between WWE and just pushing Naomi and giving Naomi an actual chance. Because
For sure.
too many times she's got herself into these brilliant positions and nothing or very little has been done. So I would like to think there isn't any kind of personal problem or issue there, but it's happened too many times for me not to think that, why aren't they giving this woman her chance, I don't know.
It's a tough one. But let's move on. We have a few minutes. We have 10 minutes left of the show. And it's about that time we do, what we felt as if the most difficult part of our week, This week, I'm very confident with mine. I've actually chosen someone before today came, which is
Go
amazing.
on. You go first then this week.
Okay. So we'll change it around. I'll kick off first. For me, my first one has to be Will Hobbs.
Yeah.
Has to be Will
Well
Hobbs.
deserved.
So obviously we just mentioned about, stars who are unsigned coming onto AEW Dark, and we know the outcome of their fate when we see that they're going to be on the show.
Yeah.
But with Will Hobbs, obviously he's had, I think, around about 8 to 10 matches with AEW, and that's including his appearance on the pay-per-view. And that alone is a very telling thing, that he had a chance to be on a pay-per-view, even as an unsigned guy. But this week...
Is he still unsigned?
He's still unsigned. Yep, he's still unsigned. Not officially been announced or whatever else. It's not been announced. If he is, it's not been announced yet. So he had a match on Dark against another unknown. So straight away, I'm thinking, ooh, he could win. Because I'm then thinking the other guy has probably only had 1-2 matches, if any at all, before.
Yeah.
So this is Will Hobbs' time. So he does his thing and he wins the match. As you said, shockingly, he still hasn't been signed, or it hasn't been announced that he's been signed, if he has.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's massive encouragement to see that happen, because it hasn't happened with anyone else who is unsigned. I think the only person who's probably come anything close to that is Serpentico, who's had a few appearances on pay-per-view and on Dynamite. But then also as well, Diamante and Ivelisse won the women's tag team tournament.
Yeah.
But they already have, especially Ivelisse, of course, already have a level of notoriety.
Them man are money. We know that.
Exactly. They're money. Like they're money.
Yeah.
For them still not to be signed, and for them not to have any real appearance since they've won the tag team.
That is true. That's true.
Again, is AEW. I don't know what's going on over there. I really don't. Yeah, it's nuts. I heard something today, but I won't share it. But I'll tell you later.
Okay.
But yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. But to go back to Will Hobbs, amazing guy, big, massive guy, strong as an ox, as they say, and I think he has a bright future. He's kind of like
100%.
He's kind of like how Wardlow has been used so far. This just massive, not dominant, but what's the word? Oh God, it just came to my head and it's gone. But anyway, this massive guy who's very scary, and you wouldn't want to be in a ring with him, however big you are, however what I mean, all that kind of thing. He's got power. He's got a level of agility that doesn't match his size. You know what I mean? It's crazy. So to see him get his chance and his win, couldn't go unnoticed, basically.
Yeah. I mean, I think they've definitely got something in him, and I think they've definitely earmarked him as a star for the future. He has been, even for me, that like I say, I don't watch Dark every week like that. He has been a constant.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was about to say win or lose, but lose until win. He has been a constant. Yeah, he has been a constant. He's always been up. He's always been there. He's always shown up. And I think the win and definitely getting the opportunity in the Battle Royal says a lot. Because they could have put anyone else in that Battle Royal. They still had people that feature regularly on Dynamite that weren't on the show at all.
That's true.
They chose Will Hobbs, so for me, that they've definitely got something in him. They've invested into him, building him up slowly, and can't wait to see what the future holds for him.
Yeah, of course. So who is your pick for this week?
Right, so I'm gonna go with another AEW star.
Okay, wow. Okay.
And it's Sonny Kiss. I wouldn't say as far as blown away, but I was really encouraged and surprised and kind of taken aback by Sonny Kiss's performance in the tag match with Joey Janela and Chris Jericho and Jake Hager.
Of course.
I've always seen Sonny as an entertainer kind of performer. But there was some times in that match where, this is just generally just on performance. She really brought it to Chris Jericho and Hager. And again, we say MVPs doing the Lord's work. Jericho is just on a mission to put over all the younger talent, and spotlight everyone in AEW. He's doing some brilliant stuff. And I was just kind of taken aback by the entire performance. I've always loved the packaging and everything. How I don't know quite what the gimmick is, like is it cheerleader or something like that, but I just think that I remember early AEW, I think it was Fyter Fest, Sonny Kiss had an opening match. I'm tempted to say it was up against Darby Allin, but I can't remember.
Okay.
This is early AEW. And that was my introduction to Sonny Kiss.
Okay.
I don't really follow the independent stuff. So since then, I've been kind of wanting to see more. I know her, Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela have their thing on Dark as well when they formed their tag team. But I was just really encouraged by the performance. I kind of went around online afterwards, like I do. A lot of people were really, Sonny Kiss had a good match last night. So for sure. I thought, giving a spotlight to someone that doesn't really get a lot of these kind of opportunities, especially on Dynamite, Sonny Kiss done pretty well.
Yeah, for sure. And I think what was amazing about that match specifically was that it wasn't a normal match. It was also a no disqualification match. So it then brought a lot of uncertainty in terms of what was going to happen in the match, what it would be, end up getting involved in and all that kind of thing. And obviously we saw, a few weapons being used, the fire extinguisher and all this, all this other crazy stuff. It's mad that you mentioned Sonny Kiss because randomly over the last few days, I can't remember when it was, but I was just walking, thinking about wrestling in general, and Sonny Kiss came to mind, and I was just like, you know what? Sonny Kiss has this whole thing where, as you said, you expected him to be this entertainer, maybe a bit comedic. Obviously with him being openly gay, you've got that whole flamboyant thing, and that expectancy from someone, someone with that character behind them. But let's be real, Sonny Kiss has this unique moveset that it's not comedic.
Very unique.
It's not comedic. It's very unique. It's very much his style. It's very much his thing. Not necessarily stuff that other people can't do. But at the same time, when you see it, it's his. If you saw someone else do it, you'd be like, "Oh, that's a Sonny Kiss move." You know what I mean? It's that type. It's that distinctive, and that for me is massive. That for me is massive in terms of the way that we see Sonny Kiss. And yes, he's actually coming from a cheerleading background in his real life. That's what he was. He's a guy from New Jersey. And I've been a massive advocate for Sonny Kiss for a few years now, just simply based on his skill level.
Yeah, definitely.
You take away all the again, him being homosexual, take away him being black, take away all of this stuff, and if you just look at just his skills, just what he can do in the ring, you can push that guy for forever.
Yeah.
Add then the differences that he comes with. If you're clever enough, that's a massive start, and it's kind of irked me just a little bit that he hasn't been used more.
Yeah.
In AEW, I know that for the past year or so, or up until a few months ago, he was studying and stuff like that, and maybe that got in the way. I don't know. And he wanted to focus on that a little bit more. I'm not completely sure. But now that he's in a position where he's kind of free to do what he's doing, obviously we've seen now him teaming with Joey Janela. They've been, kind of on a bit of a roll. We're seeing them very often on both Dark and on Dynamite. So it's great to see him. He's not necessarily being pushed per se, but he's there every week. He's there frequently. We get to see what he can do, and it's nice to see that he was in a match that you know, we've not seen him in before, and he did great, and
Yeah.
the reaction was great as well. So that's a great pick. Sonny Kiss is a great pick by you. Well done. So we have now come to the end of our show. We only have a few seconds to go. Thank you to everyone who joined us on IG Live, those who will be watching or who are watching on YouTube, and those who are listening on Affinity Extra on Thursday at 12 p.m. It will be repeated later on that day as well. So, guys, make sure you follow us, the WrestleManiac, on Instagram, on Twitter, WrestleManiac UK. I'm sure you're checking us out on the WrestleManiac UK YouTube channel. You'll see it all look nice and fancy with the logo up there and our names down here and all that good stuff. And subscribe, and make sure you click that subscribe and the notifications button. Please help us to grow this community, help us to grow what we're doing, so we can do better things for you guys as well. And also to our listeners on Affinity Extra, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you keep on listening to the station itself. Apps, website, and everything else is coming very soon. It's gonna blow up. Trust me, we're taking over the UK. You're not ready for it, but be ready, please. Mex, thanks again for joining me, for doing this every single week and doing what you do for this show. Folks, we'll see you next week. Take care. In a bit.
Take care, guys.